Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for July the 13th, 2010. Now our first position is going to be in the equity market, specifically the S&P 500 futures. Now what we can see here is we have the medium-term crossover from Vantage Point has crossed to the upside. This is a very powerful buy signal using the Vantage Point program. Now another thing I like here is the predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point. Again, a patented indicator only from Vantage Point. When this thing crosses over, whether it be to the upside or the downside, you have probably an 85 to 90% probability the market is going to continue in that direction. Now, the predicted true strength indicator here serves a dual purpose. Not only is it giving us a buy or sell signal, it's also advising us when the market is overbought or oversold. Now with this, we can see that we're in oversold. We've also crossed the trigger to the upside, so we have a double signal there confirming a move higher. Now let's have a look at this from a bit of a longer term perspective. Now the medium term is a very good indicator. We would like to see the long-term crossover go also. Now we can see that it's not quite there yet, but it's getting close. So that's good enough for me. We've got our medium-term crossover, and we also have our short-term crossover that is supportive. So two of our four indicators are pointing that the market's going to go higher. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to put our EMA crossover back up. Once we've identified which way we want to trade this, we can see here now that the 3-day is crossing over the 8-day and the 18-day predicted moving average. The predicted medium-term difference has moved into the positive territory, and the predicted long-term differences are following. Now our predicted MACD, we have a bit of a conflicting signal there. Our predicted RSI from Vantage Point sitting essentially at about the 50 level, which is a trend ready. That's supportive, so everything looks good here for me. We've closed at 1076.60. We can see now that the 18-day predicted moving average is 1064.60. So again, we've closed above that critical 18-day predicted moving average yet again. Our next major level, 1058.60, 1068.70. So everything we can see here how the former resistance is now turning support. That's what we're looking for from Vantage Point to tell us. So everything looks good from this perspective that it's going to continue to move higher. Now let's go into our daily report. Now that we've gone through our short, medium, and long-term crossover, we've identified pivot support using the EMA crossover. We're now going to go in again, like I said, to the daily report for confirmation of things. We can see that our short and medium term predicted short and medium term difference are both now positive, and our predicted long term difference has come down from negative 8.4 to negative 0.4. So this is essentially getting ready also to turn over positive. We've got our neural indexes up. We can see that everything is nice and tidy here on my daily report. The screen has got as little clutter as possible. Now what we have for tomorrow, we have 1066.70 and 1082.30. So when the market pulls lower, that doesn't mean that the uptrend is over or this is just a corrective move. Nothing goes straight up and nothing goes straight down. We always want to remember that. So in this particular case, and in essentially in all trading, we're either buying dips or selling strength. That's what we're looking to do. So in this particular case, we're looking to buy a dip. 1066.70 looks good for me tomorrow. That identifies the bottom. Now that we have the 1066.70 from the daily report, let's match that up to the 18-day the 8 and the 18-day predicted moving average. We can see here we've got 1064.60, 1058.60. So in this particular case, I would like to have, we've closed at 1076.60. We're looking to get in at the 1067, 1068 area. Our stops are going to be below the 1058.60 just to be safe. So that's our first trade for tomorrow. Now our second trade for tomorrow, we're going to go into the foreign exchange market. We're looking at the US-Japan currency pair. This has been a very volatile currency pair. Now much like the S&P 500, we can see how this trade is setting up. We've got our medium-term crossover that is just crossed to the upside. The medium-term crossover is the minimum that I need to start looking at a trending move, counter trend position, or in reality just entering a trade period. I do not trade, I trade as little as possible off the very short-term indicators because you're susceptible to that market noise, and I'm very, very cautious of that based around my experience in the market. Before I enter into a short-term position, I always look at the longer term outlook. US Japan has clearly been in a substantial downtrend, but again, in my opinion, we're heavily oversold here. Our predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point, I want to point this out right here. Again, remembering that this indicator has a dual purpose. When it crosses the trigger, it's a buy or a sell signal, and when it gets down into the negative 60, positive 40, negative 40, that's an overbought and oversold signal. So again, we're in oversold territory. We're starting to move higher. Now, again, we've got this medium-term crossover. So let's go into Vantage Point and run through our other crossovers, because again, we're not basing our trade